This is Mr. Zero from Pitch Black Mass, and you are watching Band Chat.
Hey, welcome back to Band Chat. You guys know me. I'm your host. I'm Bonnie from Innocence Torn.
And I'm James Freemuth, lead guitarist for Innocence Torn.
And today, guys, we got one hell of a guest for you. Cannot wait for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Sin Quirin.
Awesome.
Hi, Sin. How are you?
Good. How are you both?
Good.
Really
Thank
good.
you. My God,
Right on.
you have like this list of things that we really... you were one of the most impressive men I think I've ever had the pleasure to meet. And we were very fortunate to meet you at the Rainbow Room for Ronnie James Dio's 80th birthday. And you were so graceful and came and introduced yourself. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, honor.
I was really honored. My goodness. But ever since then, like, since that time, you've created a whole new band.
Bands, are you kidding? He's got a monster diverse platform. I don't even know where to begin.
No.
The one I've been really grooving on is Siglos. It's just freaking hardcore. It's got like this Aztec and just evil, almost demonic. It's just cool. It's just really cool. So
tell us a little bit about that band, since there's so many others we could talk.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a very, very lucky and blessed career. I've had the chance and the honor to play with some of the bands that I looked up to growing up, which led me to where I'm at right now. Siglos, my current project actually started about 2 years ago, to be honest with you. Sort of during the pandemic, during the shutdown, all I could do was just write. So I was at home just writing away, and next thing you know, I had a handful of songs, and I really didn't know where they were going to go. I knew they weren't, at the time I was still in ministry, and I knew that they weren't ministry songs. So the way I usually work is I just write, and then I sort of play songs wherever I think they're going to go down the road, So I had this collection of songs, and I was really interested in this sort of black metal, extreme metal, doom metal kind of, these genres, which I had never really done before. So at the time, my producer, Alex Pressioni, suggested this singer named Pedro Sanchez from this band called Transfarno, which is his project. And I said, hey, man, so I have this one song, and I'd really like to sort of hear it with these almost black metal kind of vocals, which, again, was new to me. And so we had Pedro come down to the studio, played him the song, and I said, hey, man, listen, I'd love to have your vocals on this. And the first thing he says to me is, do you want it in English or Spanish? And I hadn't even thought about it. I hadn't even gone there yet. And I immediately just said Spanish. I was just like, Spanish. And and I said, I just thought, wow, what a cool sort of thing, to create this other kind of dimension, And so we went with Spanish. He did the one song, and he came back, a couple weeks later with the finished song, and I loved it. And initially, it was just going to be one song. It was going to, I was going to have sort of like a different vocalist on different songs.
Kind of like a solo project.
I was going to do sort of like, for lack of a better term, sort of a solo project, even though I hate saying solo project.
Right, sure.
But that's kind of what I was going to do. You know what I mean? And, but I liked it. I liked what he did so much. It intrigued me so much that I said, let's do another one. So I gave him another song, and that turned into a song called Morir para Vivir, which turned into our second video.
Right.
And,
which is sick, by the way.
And
I'll put a link in.
You know what? Thank you.
Yeah. You guys have not seen this. It is unbelievable. It's definitely, if you want to see what a professional, like hardcore, real, just in your face metal video looks like, this one's going to be it. So I'll put the link in the description.
I appreciate that. Thank you. yeah, so it was like, after we had those 2 songs, I just said to myself, you know what? I think I want to turn this into a project. And that was it. And then, I just kind of kept giving them more songs. And then I just started writing more songs for that project in mind specifically. And, this puts us in 2021, 22, something like that. And I left ministry. I think I left ministry in middle of 2021 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But at that point, I was like, okay, this is what I want to write for. And that's how the project sort of came to be. Now, I was going to, I wanted to release an EP, but I thought, well, let's do a video, because I always like kind of releasing videos if I'm going to release music. And so we did the first song, which is a song called Por los Siglos. And then we did Morir para Vivir. And then we released the EP. But at the time, there was no band. It was just me and Pedro. And so I kind of had to assemble a band just for the videos. I called up, some of my friends. You know what I mean? I called up some of my friends that are great musicians, but I said, hey, do you guys want to be a part of this video? And that was it. I really didn't have any intention on taking this live or anything like that. And so the guys came down, and the first video had Adrian on guitar. It had Eric, Brian on bass, this guy Chris on drums, and Pedro, myself. Now the second video, we switched out drummers. We brought in Jordan, and then after that, I started to get a lot of phone calls. After the videos came out, I started to get a lot of phone calls. A lot of people interested in just asking me, hey, so what's going on with this project? Like, are you taking it out? Are you doing live shows? Blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of what got that ball rolling. And I started just kind of thinking, wow, I guess people are interested and they're liking this stuff. And next thing you know, I get a call from this booking agency called Continental Touring USA, which handles, Deicide, Satyricon, Rotting Christ, like a lot of big metal bands.
Right, yeah.
And they wanted to have a meeting with me. And so I ended up meeting with them, and we discussed, the possibilities, the future of the band, and we signed on with them. And so then at that point, I was like, shit, I guess I need a band.
How cool is that, though?
Guys.
Yeah, I mean, how cool!
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
What a dream! I mean, really, that's kind of like the rock and roll dream right there.
Well, the band kicks ass. I saw your guys' performance at the NOM convention, and that was even freaking just through the roof. So you've got something here. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, how cool is it to start something that's passionate to you, and then next thing you know, the ball starts rolling on its own, and there you are. You're like, okay, I'm in a band.
Yes,
cool.
But then you got to strategize your life.
Very much so. Yeah, it felt very, very organic and very natural. Cool. Like I wasn't really trying to push anything. Things were just kind of lining up and happening. And
meant to be.
So I called the guys up and I said, hey guys, so this is the situation. You guys interested in doing this project with me? And luckily they all came on board, and I've got a great lineup. The bass player is new. He's the only guy that isn't in any of the previous videos. His name's Juan, and they're all amazing musicians, and they're all just great guys. We all love being in the same room together, and just
that's important.
Even if we're not doing music, we get along so
good
well,
chemistry.
And that's so refreshing for me. Because I've been in so many bands and so many situations where, okay, well, this person doesn't talk to this person, and there's a huge ego over here, and so we can't talk to that, and we can't. It's just so much BS, man.
Right.
And we just are all legit friends, and we enjoy each other's company, and just great guys, man. So very lucky, to have this group of guys with me.
Cool.
I mean, you literally have like this laundry list of bands, a laundry list of bands that you've been in, and all of the things that you've done. And
Ivan,
we found out that you're a friend of our mutual friend Ivan DePrew.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, are you kidding? You
Absolutely.
were in a band with him too. But it just amazes me.
Yeah.
It amazes me that You have done all these things. You've had your guitar placed at the Hollywood, at Hard Rock.
Yeah, the Hard Rock.
Hard Rock.
You've been an actor.
Cool.
You've done all these things, and yet you are one of the coolest, most approachable, humble people.
Yeah.
You remain grateful.
The world out there, this is how you need to be as like Ken. He like Sin here because he's a down-to-earth guy. You can talk to him, and he's probably more talented than you and no attitude, So that's badass.
I think
the talent. Thank you. The talent part is very questionable, but thank you.
Oh no! No! Amazing musician.
No, actually, you had recently. Well, you had said something somewhere along on your social media, that you were living proof that dreams really can come true, and that hit me like a ton of bricks because
Absolutely.
I was like, "Wow, man! Like of all the things that you have accomplished, which is a lot." And all the countless lives you must have changed with your music, it is really amazing to me that you still hold gratitude for what the universe is, put forth. And I just wanted to tell you how much that means to me. It's nice to see it is.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know. Maybe it's just the humble beginnings that I came from. We came from nothing. Didn't have anything. My parents were both born in Mexico. They came to this country. I was the first born in the States in my family. But they didn't have anything, and they worked very hard. Both very hardworking parents, and they instilled that work ethic in me from a very young age. So nothing was ever given to them or to me without hard work, and to me that's something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. The work ethic I think is a very important thing that people should have, and not to take anything for granted, because things can be taken away like that. And I don't know, there's just something about working very hard. And just going after your goals and
not giving up,
and your
there's
dreams.
Going to be pitfalls. You got to work through it.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm living proof that things can happen. Because all the things. Not saying that not because I think I'm some big rock star or anything like that, but just the things that I've been able to do and the accomplishments that I've had have far surpassed anything I ever dreamt of as a kid. Everything awesome. That's happened to me. It's just been almost like a cherry on the cake now. I'm very blessed and very, very appreciative of all the situations and all the things I've been able to do.
You have like a your own shop or whatever where you do like stereos and things like that. How do you manage all that and
absolutely.
Go on
I own my own business, and that's something that I think was was taught that I learned from my parents. I opened up my shop when I was like 22, I think. Nice. And
well established.
So at the time, my dream was always to be a guitar player in a band. Like that was my dream since I was 6 years old, right? But I think I was lucky enough, or maybe smart enough, to try to have something
supplemental income
in the background. Yeah, exactly.
Smart.
And so, I slugged it out in the LA local scene. I started playing the clubs in LA at about 18 or so. Got my first record deal. I think I was like 29 or something when I got my first record deal, which was considered old for us back then, because all of my friends were getting deals in like their early 20s. And so, anyways, during that time, I had my shop. So I would be playing all the clubs in LA, and I had my shop, and then I got lucky enough when I joined Society One, we got signed to Earache Records, and that's actually when Ivan DePrume came into the picture.
Yeah.
And Ivan came in and he recorded. He did the drums on the first Society One record, and that lineup was actually me, Matt Zane on vocals, Ivan DePrume on drums, and Paul Raven, passed away on bass. He was from Killing Joke and Prong, Godflesh. Like, he was amazing bassist. So that was that lineup of Society One, and that was the first record deal. And then we were off to the races, man. We were on MTV and VH1 and on, Headbangers Ball and all that stuff. And
Right.
then, I mean, everything just went from 0 to 1,000.
All right, excuse me.
And all that time, I still had my shop. And so I would be on tour, for a month or two at a time, and I'd come back and I'd be at my shop, and then leave
Right.
again, and then back at my shop. And luckily, I still have it. But
He's got to stop, and I have to come home to dishes. What the hell?
Well,
well, I gotta do dishes too.
part of life.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy ride, but again, very, very appreciative and lucky to have been able to do all these things with amazing, musicians.
Yeah. I also noticed you got another side project going with a female singer. It's a little bit different from like what people know with like Ministry and Siglos, and it's really cool. So I don't know if you want.
Yeah, that project's called Three-Headed Snake, and that actually the female vocalist is a guest vocalist on a song. The band actually is. I started that project about 6 years ago, and our one and only show we did at the Bloodstock Festival out in the UK. So we literally, again, another one of those instances where we had a 3-song EP, and someone heard it, and next thing you know, I'm in contact with the people at the Bloodstock Festival in the UK, which is a huge festival.
Yeah.
And we somehow ended up playing their Sophie Lancaster stage, which is their second stage, in front of like 7,000 people.
Wow.
We've never done a show before, and never rehearsed before. There was even a band. It was one of those things where I had to assemble a band to go out and do this show. So, but that project was myself and my singer, his name's Johnny Ray, and we kind of assembled the band around that. But yeah, that's another side project, which is sort of like a power metal. It's kind of an old school power metal.
Yeah, it's cool shit.
Project.
Yeah.
And we got a new single coming out, and that's where you heard that female vocalist.
Yeah.
Which her name's Marika, and she was actually the lead singer for Lords of Acid on the 2019.
Oh, you're kidding!
I did not.
Lords of Acid.
I did not put the two together.
Yeah, that's sick, dude. I mean,
so that's where I met her.
I mean, you have fairy dust. Clearly, you have fairy dust. You're like, here, I'll just put a little magic over here, and I'm going to wind up on stage.
There's a lot of he's a musician. No, he's this is what people need to hear. It's like what Band Chat's all about, because we know so many musicians, and we're all trying to here. I'm sure it's the same in LA. We all network a lot. We all kind of ride off each other's backs. It's a big family.
Sure, of course.
By and large, everyone gets along pretty well, and people have kind of gone in between each other's bands and stuff, and and everyone's just looking at what has worked, what hasn't worked. Advice from the heavy hitters like yourself who were like we were at and are climbing, so there's a lot to be learned,
Sure.
You're like the people we look up to, because you guys have done it. So it's
Absolutely.
like, what is he doing that we're not doing, or need to be doing? And I know one of the things that we do is like what you hit upon, hard work. We rehearse 3, sometimes 4 times a week. One of those
very
days,
much so.
it's a lot of blood and sweat, and it pays off. Like we do shows, we think we suck.
It does.
Just about video everything. And the transition on quality
it's crazy.
It's night and day. We got something coming out. I wish it was already out. We got a new thing coming.
We have something. We have something up our sleeves.
But it's going to. People
it's a game changer.
Yeah, we've jumped, but people are going to have to wait until Saturday.
But I mean, the truth is that this industry is not easy. It really is not.
Not at all.
No, and you got to be able to take criticism, which we don't really get any bad criticism yet. But it can happen. We've had a couple members get some criticism, but it's criticism. Take it, build from it. You got to have a thick skin.
Well, I mean,
and you have to have, you've got to be very persistent. You kind of have to have blinders on and aim at that prize. There are always going to be detractors. There are always going to be people talking crap or trying to bring you down or whatever. But it's like, you have to have thick skin, and you have to always move forward. That's one thing that
it seems like when you're actually going
early on.
somewhere,
Yeah,
I've noticed
absolutely.
like when you're
because
the more success we get, the more people are like, "Oh, you're not doing it right," and it's like, okay,
yeah,
so
yeah. Which is, you'll find. I mean, once you start to go higher and higher up that ladder, people come out of the woodwork, man, and you just got to stay focused and know what you're doing. Know that it's coming from the heart, and just continue to move forward.
that's good advice.
That's really great advice. I know for me, I watch, I watch the transition between folks just starting out, folks like starting to, get their foot in. And then I watch all these other bands and what they're doing. And I'm like, I don't know how are you staying sober through this, keeping a normal schedule,
because you drop dead if you didn't. I mean, honestly, there's winners and losers, and that what I've noticed is the most successful, except for a few that blow my mind. You've got to be clean and sober and live your life right. And you look at the entertainment world and the people I talk to, A&R reps, they don't want to touch anybody that's on drugs or don't have their act together, because there's been too many scenarios where everyone's lost out on money because people can't keep their
not everybody can do that, though. I mean, not everybody.
Though. He's an inspiration.
Yeah, I agree.
If you ever drank, have you?
Never.
Yeah.
Never had a sip of beer, never done any drugs, never smoked anything.
I highly commend that. I'm so honored by that.
Let me also say this about the same time. I'm all about people doing whatever they want to do.
Right.
To have
no,
fun
I know you're not judging.
I'm not like, I don't like to stand on the soapbox and preach to people or anything like
that.
Not at all. This is just what's worked for me.
Right.
But if I
think it's good for people to know
if I had to advise, like some up and coming people, I would definitely say, hey, try to keep your head on straight. Try to not get, involved with any of this crazy stuff, because inevitably disaster is inevitable with that stuff.
Right.
It's very hard to keep those things under control, especially when you're in a situation where you are coming up. More things are given to you and given to you and given to you for free. My pockets are full every night of stuff that people hand me. All I'm gonna say is that my guitar tech and our road crew love me. I just end up I give stuff away.
Right.
I give stuff away, but so those things. So yeah, it's difficult. I mean, because everyone is telling you how amazing you are every night you're on the road. Everyone is telling you how amazing you are. You're the greatest thing ever, and they're handing you free things, And so, yeah, you kind of have to be level-headed, and that's something I've been lucky enough that I was never interested in the drinking or drugs or anything like that. So it never interested me. I was too focused on music. I was too focused on. I didn't want anything to pull me away from that.
Detract you from your ability.
I literally had blinders on from the time I started playing the guitar, and I was extremely focused, and I didn't let anything else sort of steer me away.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So what's been the hardest part of you moving up and doing different projects? And then again, I mentioned that you've done some acting too. So I know it all sounds to a lot of people like, oh, this is all glitz and glam, but it's really not. I mean, it's really not. Not only is it a lot of work, but I mean, there are so many things that try to in this world prevent you from getting where you are. Like what is the hardest part about being in the industry for you?
Oh man, there are a lot of things that are difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult knowing that a lot of the people that you think are friends are not friends.
Yeah, that's hard.
There's a lot of that in the industry. There's a lot of two-faced people. There's a lot of backstabbing, and those are things that I learned the hard way. I'm a very, I don't know. I was raised just to be friendly with everyone and treat everyone with respect. And treat everyone like everyone's a good person. And, until someone crosses you or gives you a reason not to think that. But I think being kind and being generous sometimes has backfired on me, more so when I was younger. But, lessons like that, I mean, people just kind of have to learn and go through. So, that's very difficult about being in this business, is trying to navigate who your real friends are. And that's why my circle is so small right now. I know everyone, but the people that are really, really close to me is very small. And also being, one thing that's been a little difficult is being away from family, for the majority of my life. You miss certain things. I mean, you miss birthdays, or you miss this anniversary, or this wedding, or you miss this blah blah blah. Like things like that have been a little difficult. You have to have a very strong and supportive circle of family to understand that this is your passion, this is what you want to do, and it's going to take you away from family at times. So things like that have been difficult. But luckily, I have a great family. All my relatives have been amazing to me and very supportive. And I've always had a very supportive mom and aunts and cousins, and that have been there from my first talent show to playing at the Hollywood Bowl in the Forum here in LA. So they've been there the whole ride. So it's been pretty awesome.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
I think it's really important to have a good, strong family foundation. I mean, those are the people that, at the end of the day, when if it's all said and done, then they're still going to be there for you. So I completely understand that.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know how it is for everybody else, but before my mom passed on, she was like my biggest fan that came to a couple of my shows. She was a professional classical musician. I'm playing this hard stuff. Man. She appreciated what I was doing, and that was bigger to me than anyone else, So that's cool.
Totally. That's great, man. I to me, that I don't know. I guess that I have a soft spot for that because of the relationship I have with my mom and how she's been so supportive of me. I mean, this isn't her kind of music. She's like,
right.
She was born in this little tiny small town in Mexico, but it's the support, and it's, she's done this just to support me. So, I feel very lucky in that sense.
I think that's amazing. So what if you had to advise somebody trying to better themselves in this industry or come up in this industry, what would you tell them that isn't like everyone else says, just work really hard, just keep on moving and that kind of thing. But we know it's more than that. So I guess if you had to advise somebody on how to get to where you are, what would you tell them?
I mean, clearly the hard work thing, I mean, to me, that's just a given. I would say, depending on what style of music you're trying to do, I mean, definitely try to better your craft, become better at what it is that you do and what it is that you want to do, but also try to make those moves yourself. Don't wait for them to come to you, or don't wait for someone to sort of come and say, hey, well, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to help you. You pick up the phone. You do it. You send that email. You make that call. That's something that Gene Simmons told me many, many, many years ago. He said, you know what, Sin? He's like, if you have something to show someone, call them. You tell them. You send that email. And that's something that I've always done, and I've always applied for myself. I mean, it's great if you had a manager and an agent, blah, 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 this and that, whatever. Well, you make the call to get those things if that's what you're looking to do. Like, go after the things, but do it yourself. Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to hear no or to not hear anything. Still try to make that effort. That's a huge thing. I think some people are held back by that because they think, oh, I don't know this management or this label or this agent or whatever. Like, how am I going to, how are they ever going to hear me? Contact them. Find a way. Look for their email. Look for the contact info. Look for blah, blah, blah. That's a big thing for me. And I think sometimes people don't really pursue that because they don't know. And I get it. I understand. And it's intimidating. But to me, it's like, do it. Just stick your neck out and just, go for it.
That is great advice.
That's kind of what we found. We've in some cases been held back by management or agencies, and we've had to do like you've said, and made our own phone calls and went around them. And had to change or get rid of management at times. So what you're saying just hits home
Absolutely.
really hard for us because we've done more work for ourselves than any talent agency or management has done. In fact, they've held us back. And when we found, they get us to a certain point, and it's kind of like, okay, you got to go because we want to go here. You're happy right here, so.
But I think that's in knowing that.
Exactly.
It's hard you got to get to that point.
And without, sure. And that's not an arrogant thing. That's literally like, wait a minute, this is not.
No.
Like
not at all.
You want us to play at this level, but we've already played here.
Right.
We don't want to go back.
You know what I mean? But you want us to do some opening gig, you're fired.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I feel 1,000% behind that. I've done, just to give you an example, I've looked for gigs, right, with all previous projects or whatever, reached out to agents or blah, 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 this person, that person, whatever. And it was always like, no, they're not interested or we can't get you there. You haven't done it. I went directly to the source of the actual talent buyer and got on a gig just from me pursuing that myself. So it's like, okay, well, how is it that this manager or this agent wasn't able to do this to me, but I was able to do it? Like, it's possible. It's all doable.
We can understand.
I mean? So
that can't even take the time to make the phone calls when it comes down to.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Well, I look at it this way: like you put all this time, money, and energy, and your entire heart. You put fucking everything into what you're doing. Why would you not represent your own product? You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't think anybody could. And great management's there to, they're supposed to be able to advise you, but it's not their product. Like they're not actually putting in the time to make whatever it is you're making. So for me, you got to suit up and show up for what you want in your life. And
absolutely,
I don't think anybody can represent you better.
Exactly. Who better than the actual person it's coming from? I mean, nobody.
Agreed.
Truth.
So, I mean, you mentioned a few really great people. You do know everybody. Have you ever been like starstruck to meet somebody? Like who like blew your mind in meeting?
The first time I met Ace Frehley, I froze. And so we were playing a Sweden Rock Festival out in Sweden. And we were on the same bill, the same festival day. And he was playing a second stage earlier in the afternoon, and Ministry was playing the bigger stage later on that day. But I took the bus from our hotel early, the shuttle, just because I wanted to see Ace. And so I show up, early. He was playing late in the afternoon sometime. And I'm standing out in the crowd, like I'm up at the barricade, like with all the fans and everything, right? And one of the security guys sees my wristband, and I had my a main stage, wristband on. And he looks at me and he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "You playing the main stage?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "What are you doing down here?" He goes, "You can go up to the stage and watch him from the side of the stage." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know." And so I was like, "Cool." So I walk up and I go up side stage, and I'm on stage right, and his guitar tech is there, and he's got all his guitars there. And I'm a huge old school Kiss fan from the 70s.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm standing there with his tech, and his tech looks at me and he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "You Sin?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he says, "We're going to come watch you guys later." And I was like, "Oh, cool." He goes, "You an Ace Frehley fan?" I said, "Yeah, hell yeah, man." And he goes, "He's going to come up in a minute." And so I'm standing there, and I see the other stage left behind the curtain. I can see his head kind of like coming up the stairs, right? And he starts walking towards me. And I swear to God, I've met everyone, right? And I've always been fine.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I clammed up and I was like shaking and I felt hot, like my face was feeling hot. And I thought I was going to pass out. Now, I've never passed out before, but I was like, I was like, I'm going to pass out. And so he comes right up to me. He's literally right in front of me. And he goes, "Hey, man." And nothing came out of my mouth. Like I just stood there. Like I just stood there with my mouth open. And he puts his guitar on and he walks out on stage and he starts into his set. And I'm watching his whole set from his guitar, from the Guitar World. And so he comes off stage, sees me again, says hey to me again, and I freeze again.
Oh, no.
I literally, it was almost like I was in my body, but I was like not able to do anything.
Oh, wow.
And so he walks off stage, and then luckily I got to meet him again. And I didn't clam up this time. And so I actually told him that story, and he was laughing and stuff. So that's the only time I've ever been starstruck.
He seems like quite the comedian.
I've had a chance to meet him and
he's hilarious.
Hang out with him, and it's a long story, but I got in big trouble at home because I was married at the time, and he actually called my husband at the time, and he was like, "I don't give a fuck who you are. I've never blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Bro, it's Ace Frehley actually calling you on the phone to let you know that it's a story. One of these days I have to tell you because we hung out and laughed all night long. It was in Alaska. Yeah, when they were on their Psycho Circus tour. Yeah, really great guy. But we were running out of time. I could do 6 parts and still have something to talk to you about. I do reserve the right to ask you for another band chat some other time.
Of course, absolutely.
Just watching you in the time that I've known you, man, you're really an inspiration to so many people. I want to thank you for the amazing music you put out, the way that you treat people, your
thank you.
You know, just the way that you present yourself to the industry. For me, I wish more people would strive to be that way, and you're a role model in that. So I'd like to thank you.
Thank you very much. I really
guitar. I actually was starting to clam up because I'm a big fan of the way that you play as a musician. And so
he's got a man crush, bro. Oh my god.
I'm a guitar. And let me just say, and let me just say that, and I mean this sincerely. From the time I met you guys, I really, really appreciate and admire what you guys do and the way you guys conduct yourself and how hardworking you are. And I'm really talented. I think you're very talented as well. I really dig what you guys do. And I mean that sincerely.
Thank you.
That means a lot.
I'm going to go grind my rock star now. Thank you. We sincerely apologize for the abrupt ending of that podcast. We were able to say goodbye properly, but and it just left me speechless. I am so honored and so blessed by his words and the fact that he took time out of a very busy schedule to sit down with us. I feel very honored by that. So thank you, Sin, and we hope to have you back on again. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we've got from Yuma, California, Seaside Massacre. You guys are going to love this podcast. It was so much fun. These guys are hilarious. You're going to laugh your asses off the whole time. So we hope to see you then, 8 o'clock next Saturday. See you then. Let's go.